Welcome. My name's Nick. I'm a landscape photographer, and I want to thank you for watching my first editing video. Um, I've been a photographer for a lot of years. Just in the last couple of years, have gotten back into it and found that I love editing almost as much as I like taking the pictures. So I have spent a lot of time over the last couple of years developing my workflow and learning Lightroom and Photoshop. So I enjoy doing this, and I wanted to share my workflow. So I hope you get something out of this. I hope you enjoy watching the video. So let's get into it, and I'll show you how I took. This is a photo I took this fall in Colorado, and we're going to turn this raw photo into an edited photo, and I'll show you how I do it. So let's get into Lightroom and get started. The first thing I like to do once I get the photo up in Lightroom, I like to look at the raw file and see what I want to do with it. I know I want to add some color back into the sky. I want to make sure I accentuate the light on the peaks. I need to raise the shadows. I'm probably going to put a linear gradient right here to darken just the bottom of it. And then in all these trees, we're going to lighten them up. Probably do a little dodging to brighten up the aspen trees. Then probably close to the end, we're going to highlight this mountain. We'll spotlight it, and that way our eyes drawn to the mountain. Well, this is going to be dark, the trees will be lighter, and then the mountain, so it'll just kind of run your eyes from the foreground to the mountain and then the sky. The last thing we'll do is we will do a vignette. This will be darkened, not too dark, you'll barely be able to notice it, but what it'll do is keep your eyes away from the edges and focused on where you want the viewer to look. So I like to do that on every photo, to look at it, get an idea, a game plan on how I want to edit it, and then we'll get into Lightroom and start. Okay, I am going to go through and do just a basic edit in Lightroom of a picture I took in Colorado this fall, just to kind of show you my process, my workflow. Here we go. So you can see I am in Lightroom. This is the raw file. Nothing's been done to it. As you can see, I have exposed for the highlights. So we're going to go in. Adobe Landscape. The first thing we're going to try to do is get the exposure right. And that's looking pretty good. Add in a little vibrance. You got to be careful with vibrance. I very rarely touch the saturation slider. It really does too much. So we'll go with vibrance, and let's see, whites, maybe whites a little bit, blacks. We're gonna check the blacks and just see where we are. And we don't, nothing blocked up there. So that's good. Let's check the whites. Nothing blocked up. Darken it a little. Okay, so that is our basic edit. This is before, this is after. I still think we need to brighten up the foreground a little, but we're gonna wait and do that. So we'll go to lens corrections, and I like the way this looks without the profile corrections. So we're gonna leave that like that. The next is calibration. I always start with the blue saturation slider. It really does some nice things. And you can see it's going to brighten up the trees. So we'll do that. See what the green does. It brightens up the yellows a little bit. And the red messes with the sky too much. We're going to leave it alone. Now I'm always kind of do a tone curve just to see. Don't always use it. Kind of darken up the foreground a little. We'll fix that. Okay, so let's go before, after. This has really highlighted the mountains, so really like that. Okay, so now we're on color grading. We're going to adjust the midtones a little bit. And let's do give the darks a little cooler tone. Brighten up the highlights and give it a little warmer tone, not too much. So here's before, here's after. I like what that did to the sky. So now let's see what we can do with the sky. So we're going to make a sky selection, and then we're going to hit option and intersect, and we're going to intersect that with a radial gradient, and that'll give us a mask. Let's see if I can that way you can see it. So the mask is right here, so it's just going to affect where the sun is. It's going to leave the blues really where the blues need to be, and it's not going to affect the foreground. So we're going to raise the temperature a little bit there, and as you can see, it's just adjusting where we need adjusting. We're going to raise up the exposure a little bit. And that ought to do it. Now we're going to go here and select the sky, and then we are going to invert it so we have our foreground. Now we're going to work a little bit on our foreground. Might bring it up just a little. Maybe add a little contrast, not much. So that's looking pretty good. Brighten it up a little. So now I want to work on the trees. We're going to add a mask, and we're going to do a color range, and we're going to pick some yellow, and that is going to pick the yellows. Now we can refine it a little bit. I don't want a whole lot of the foreground, I just really want the trees. So we're going to try to stick with the trees, and we are going to increase the exposure a little bit, probably take away a little contrast, a little white, and might raise the temperature just a little. So I like what that did. All right, now I want to add a radial gradient. Now I normally do this in Photoshop, but you can pretty much do the same thing in Lightroom. We really want to highlight this mountain, so your eyes drawn kind of drawn to the mountain. So we're going to just raise the exposure just a little. I mean, it just lightens that up just a little. And then we're going to do another radial gradient, and we're going to stretch it out to the whole, and then we're going to invert it, and this is going to be our vignette. So we're going to add a little contrast and down the exposure a little. So now we're going to toggle the whole edit on and off. See how that just highlights the mountain? The only thing I kind of want to do is add a linear gradient and darken this foreground a little. So let's see what that does. I think I like that. So let's look at it before and after. This is where we started, and this is where we are. Now we look at it and see what we don't like about it. And I don't really like just the big dark splotch over here. So let's see if we can crop it and come up with something a little better. Maybe we can put the mountain as almost a rule of thirds here, and you've got the row of aspens on the bottom third. You've got this. So I think I'm gonna like that crop a little better, and I do. So let's look at it before and after. Before, after, and let's toggle the mask on and off. Off, on, off, on. I don't know. That edit is pretty much done. We can dodge and burn a little bit, and let's do that. We'll take another brush mask, and we're gonna make it small, and we're just gonna highlight these aspens over here and highlight the aspen trunks. So we'll go here and here, and let's highlight the aspen trunks. See what that does. Don't know that I like that. We'll get rid of that. But let's try it again. And we'll raise the temperature, raise the exposure, raise the whites, and let's go along here and paint some of the aspens. So we're just giving them a little more. So we don't want to paint and brighten the edge. We want the eyes playing in the middle of the scene. Let's see what that looks like. I like that. So I think this is pretty much done. Maybe let's try one other thing. The light's pretty. I'm gonna try to enhance it a little and see if it does anything. We'll raise the exposure, raise the saturation, and paint. Do that. Paint this red. So let's see what that looks like. Maybe a little bit more saturation in that. And let's go back and make it fit and toggle it on and off. Subtle, you can see it. So that's our edit. We'll toggle all the masks on and off. And go over here. Here's the before, here's the after. I think we've done a good job highlighting the trees, highlighting the light on the mountains and the sky. So I think this looks really good. I hope you learned something. I enjoy doing this and hope you enjoy watching my workflow, and I'm gonna post some of these and hope you enjoy watching. Thank you.